Okay, so today we are going to talk about storing your breast milk. So this is if you are a breastfeeding mom, you are past those first 6 weeks and your milk supply has regulated, and now you want to add pumping into your routine or your breastfeeding journey and expressing milk so that anyone can feed the baby or anyone else can feed the baby besides you as mom. So let's talk about it. I did get this as a question for a video, so I know it's late, but I'm finally able to sit down and do this, and it is important that we talk about it so that women know if they are pumping moms, you know how long they can store their breast milk, how to store their breast milk so that it's safe for baby to eat when baby is ready. Okay, so the rough guidelines are express milk is good, like left in room temperature for up to 4 hours. So if you're not going to use it, right away or immediately, then you do want to put it in the refrigerator if you're going to use it later on that day. Now, refrigeration is good for up to 4 days. So as long as it's in the refrigerator, you can use it 4 days after the time or after, when you originally pumped that milk. Freezer storage is longer. You can keep your breast milk in your freezer for up to 6 months. That is the kind of rough guideline, like you want to be using it within that 6 months. But it can be good up to a year. But that is the max. That is the max. So if you have more than that, or if you feel like you're pumping a lot of milk and you think that your baby won't eat it within that first 6 months, then I probably will pull back on the pumping just a little bit. Ideally, I feel like milk should be used kind of fast, right? Like you don't really want to be feeding your freezer. You want to make sure that the milk that you use, just remember first in, first out, FIFO. I learned that in culinary school back in the day. But when you are pumping your milk, label it. Label the day and label the time, because what is really interesting is that they have found out that, milk changes throughout the day, right? And that's why I am really just a big proponent of putting baby to breast if you are able to, as much and as often as you can throughout the day. Because when you pump milk or, throughout the day, your milk changes for your baby. So in the morning, it's filled with all of the, waking up, hormones and everything like that, which helps baby to, wake up after a long night of sleeping. But, as the day goes on, your body can tell what your baby needs at that time. And then, of course, as the sun goes down and it becomes nighttime again, then your milk is boosted with all of those sleepy hormones so that your baby is able to sleep, peacefully at nighttime. So if you are a pumping mom, I really would like you to label not only just the day that you pumped your milk and everything like that and the time that you pumped it, but yes, the time that you pumped your milk. So like if it was 2 o'clock in the afternoon, then label it 2 p.m. And then when you're going to, thaw that milk out or give it to baby at a later date, then try to use it around the same time, if that makes sense. So if it says 2 p.m. and you're about to have like a 2 p.m. feeding for your baby, look for the milk that says 2 p.m. Because if you give your baby the, say, like 9 p.m. milk that you have pumped, your baby may, be sleepy when you may want your baby to be awake during that time, and vice versa. So say you give your baby milk that you have pumped early in the morning, so say like 7 o'clock, but now it's 10 o'clock at night, your baby may be a little bit more wired. So those are the rough guidelines. So 4 hours room temperature is fine. 4 hours or 4 days in a refrigerator, and then up to 6 months. It can be a year, but you really want to be using it within those 6 months. Now you can store your milk. There are so many, oh my gosh, there's so many ways that you can store your milk now, even versus when I had my first child. So you can store, in the bags. I think Lancelo is one of the brands that make the baggies. And then there also are some pumps where you can pump your milk directly into like the size bottles that you need, and you can put that right in the freezer as well and then thaw it out from there. When it comes to thawing your breast milk out, okay, so if you thaw your breast milk out, it's really best if you thaw it out in the refrigerator. So if you're going to use it ahead of time, and like I said, you have your dates on there, right? You have your times on there. Put them in the fridge, right? And it does take a while for milk to thaw out. So you kind of got to be thinking ahead a little bit, but thaw it out in the fridge. If you need to thaw it out in room temperature, you can. It just is, like, it gives you a little bit more time if you thaw it out in the fridge, because you have, those few more days. Whereas if you thaw it out like straight from the freezer to room temperature, it may take, like, you may have to use that milk, like right away. And if that's what you need, then obviously, then that's the best way to do it. But yes, you can put it in the fridge and let it thaw out that way. And then once it's completely thawed out, then you just want to give it a little a little swish around. You don't want to shake the milk because that can actually kill some of those good, enzymes for babies. So you don't want to really shake it. You just want to swirl it, because the fat does separate from the liquid. Just swirl it back in there, and then you can give it to your baby. If you are heating it up, like on the stove, you can have like some water in a pan or in a pot or something like that, and just have it like on a low setting, and you can put the bottle in that way, or however you're storing your milk, and then put it into your bottle so that you can feed baby. But the thing I want to really point out here is you don't want to reuse milk, and you don't want to refreeze milk, right? So if you take milk out for your baby and say, I don't know, say your baby ate only half of it, you can put that back in the refrigerator, and then the same thing again. If it's in that 4-day period that your baby wants to eat that, or if you want to give that to your baby, that's okay. But you cannot take that milk that you already started giving your baby and then put that in the freezer for a later time. You don't want to do that. So that's why I say you kind of really want to think ahead when you're planning out your day and how much you need to pump, how much your baby is eating, and everything like that. Babies don't need more than 4 ounces of milk at a time. And this may be new information or shocking information, but when a baby is, breastfeeding straight from the breast, of course, there's not really a way to gauge, how much your baby is getting. But when they, just considering the size of your baby's stomach, 4 ounces at a time is perfect. You don't need to thaw out 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 ounces for your baby. I'm talking about a baby that's less than 1 year old. So 1 and under, you don't need that much. If your baby is still, hungry more frequently, then that is okay, but 4 ounces at a time. And hopefully that will eliminate, you wasting milk or having to thaw out some milk and your baby didn't finish it all and all of that. You can use the milk within a day. But if your baby starts eating it and they haven't finished, you can put that in the refrigerator, and you still have about 4 days from there, or from the time that you took it out of the freezer if it was frozen. If it was fresh milk, same thing. You have about 4 days, but then after that, baby hasn't finished it, and you have new milk that you have thawed out, then you just want to get rid of it. And I know we hate, throwing out our breast milk, but you just want to be as safe as possible, because breast milk is a living food. It's a living live food, and so that does mean that it can go bad. So you just don't want to give your baby bad milk and have to deal with gas and all of that. I actually have this really handy breastfeeding magnet, actually. I can't remember where I got it. Maybe, I don't know. I think maybe when I was leaving the hospital or from WIC or whoever, but it's a really nice one because it has all of the guidelines here on it. And I did post this before, so check out that post. If I can, I'll try to link it so that you can see. But it tells you how long, or the safe guidelines for storing your breast milk. So like I said, fresh pumped breast milk up to 4 hours, room temperature, so on the countertop or whatever. And the same thing if it was previously thawed out. If you're using it, that day, you're going to use it within 4 hours, put it in the fridge or whatever. I mean, if it's after 4 hours and you haven't used it yet, you can put that in the fridge, but you think, you may be using it soon. And if you're pumping for later, so say you're batch pumping for daycare or something like that, 6 months, 12 months is the max. If you're one of those people that have a deep freezer just for your milk, make sure you label and date everything correctly so that none of it goes bad or is wasted or spoiled, right? And again, if your breast milk thaws out, so say you have a power outage or something like that, unfortunately, and it thaws out, you cannot refreeze it. You can put it in the refrigerator, but you cannot refreeze your breast milk. So that is everything, I think, as far as pumping and storing your milk. There are so many ways to do it, but you just want to make sure that the milk is safe and as fresh as possible for your baby. So if you're pumping, try not to pump too much. You don't want your breast milk just, laying around and everything like that. And don't forget the dates and don't forget the times, okay? So I hope that this video was helpful. I hope that you maybe learned something new. If you're a pumping mom, definitely share all of your tips and tricks below, because it's been so long since I have pumped personally myself, so I forgot a couple of things, but I did want to make this video for those who requested it. So I hope that this was helpful. Share with any breastfeeding moms out there or any moms in your life who may be pregnant currently. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.